Welcome back to Photographing and Communicating with Fairies, and congratulations, you're on the very last lesson. So we are going to cover how to communicate with a fairy from one of your photos today. Hopefully you've had an opportunity to go out, take some good photos, and find some amazing fairies within them through the course of this class and also on your own. I'm also hoping that you had an opportunity to practice dowsing so that you've gotten a little faster at it, and maybe you started out quickly. It's hard to say. Some people do, some people don't. But if you didn't, I do hope you've had some opportunity to practice. So what I want you to do first is to go in and find a photograph that you've cropped out of a fairy that really sparked you. I have quite a few of my own, so it's very difficult sometimes to choose. However, I do have Hasla, and she's on the screen right now. I do have her, and I've made a cartoon character of her and created my YouTube channel through messages that she has shared with me through dowsing. So this is Hasla on the screen, and I want you to find one of your favorites as well. So go ahead and pause and find one of your favorite photos, and when you're done, come on back. So if you're back with me now on this video, it must mean that you have found a fairy from your own photographs that you really are interested in talking to. Before we get started, you need to make sure that you have your pendulum board and your pendulum, and also your notebook on whichever side is comfortable for you to pause when you're dowsing and write down the words that you're getting. You might want to put the date at the top of the notebook page that you're using, and you can fill in the rest as you go, because this will be a conversation specifically with the fairy from your photo. So if the fairy gives you the name, then you write that in your notebook and then go from there. First and foremost, before you get started, you need to ask your gatekeeper for his or her protection. So I've placed those words up on the screen for you. You may have them memorized already if you've done a lot of practice with your dowsing, but if not, here it is, and you can say it with me or you can just say it yourself. So use your gatekeeper's name and say, I call on you as gatekeeper for this pendulum session to put your white light of protection around myself, my home, and this session. I also ask any deceased loved ones and any other guides to add their white light of protection as well. So your gatekeeper is now ready, and you can contact your spirit guide whatever way you wish. My way is I will ask with my pendulum in the neutral spot on the board, is there anyone available to speak to today? And it will swing yes, and I will say, and who am I speaking with? And Sakina will spell out SK, which, as I believe I explained to you before, she shortened it down to SK for me so that we didn't have to take the time to spell her name out. You may be comfortable doing it that way as well. If not, you can just ask if your spirit guide, using their name, is available to speak to today. Most of the time it's yes. Very rarely is there a no. If there is a no, it usually means that they are perhaps off helping someone cross over or on some other job. But like I said, it's very rare that the answer is no. Once you have your guide, don't forget to say hi. That's important. And then you can ask your guide if they can see the image on your computer screen or your phone or your tablet, whatever you have that image of that fairy on. Go ahead and ask your guide if they can see it. They will certainly be able to see it, because anything that you can see, they can see. So the answer there should be yes. Then you want to move on to, would it be possible for me to talk to this fairy? No explanation is needed. Your guide already knew before you sat down to dowse with this video that this is what you were going to do. Asking the questions is just a formality, mostly for us. So wait for the response. Certainly going to be yes, unless, of course, the fairy is unavailable. That has never happened to me, but it doesn't mean that it cannot happen. So if the answer is no, you cannot talk to this fairy, it doesn't mean no, you can't talk to them. It means they might be out there doing something else and cannot stop to talk to you at this time. However, don't be afraid to ask your spirit guide why if the answer is no. And you may also ask, will it ever be possible to talk to this fairy? Because maybe this fairy is shy. Maybe this fairy just doesn't want to deal with humans. So first ask why and let your guide explain, and the answer to the question will probably be in there somewhere. Some guides can be very straightforward. Some guides can be very long-winded. Some guides don't give totally straight answers. But let's say that the fairy on the screen is available to talk to. So you want to say thank you to your guide, because your guide will be the energy go-between at first. And then maybe eventually you will not need your guide to help you connect up. I always ask for Sakina first, just because I like that connection with her. So anyway, if you say, would it be possible for me to talk to this fairy? And the answer is yes. Then you say thank you to your guide and ask the fairy, may I first ask what this fairy's name is? You're still kind of going between your spirit guide and also with the fairy. So whoever responds, if it comes out as this fairy's name is such and such, you know that it's your guide you're speaking with still. If a name is given, it is more than likely the fairy speaking directly to you. After I get the fairy's name, I ask, may I address you using the fairy's name directly? Answer is usually yes. So you can go ahead and get the information directly from the fairy that you see on your screen. Once you have connection with the fairy in your photo, you can work with them on many occasions, just as you can your spirit guide. In this case, since it's your first meeting, the question that I would ask is, can you tell me about yourself? And then use their name, as I show you on the screen, and just give them the opportunity to douse away with whatever information that they are willing to give. Some fairies are going to be very long-winded, just like our guides can be, and some are going to be pretty straightforward, maybe one sentence, and they're done. Others will give you, 3/4 of a page or a full page if you have the time to do so. If you have questions, wait until they're done giving you the information from that first question that you've asked about, can you tell me about yourself? Give them great opportunity and time to allow full explanation as much as they wish to give. Make sure that you ask them kindly to go to the center circle, the neutral circle, when they are totally finished with what they have to share with you. That way you aren't sitting there waiting just in case all of a sudden it would just stop, and maybe they have more to say, but they are thinking about how to say it. So if they go to that center circle at the tail end, then you know that they are finished. And in that case, if you want to ask questions, if you have the time, because dowsing can take a little while, if you have the time, go ahead and ask a question if you have one. Perhaps you get an idea of a question from the dowsing that you received, or maybe two. Do one question at a time. Let the fairy answer it in total, always having them go to the very center circle of your board when they are finished. And really, that is all there is to it. You can do this same process with as many fairies as you wish from your photos. I have done many of mine. I didn't start out doing it right away because I was excited to be photographing, but since that time I have had a lot of communication with various fairies in my photos, and it's fascinating. They're all very different. They all have different jobs. They see the world from a whole new perspective. I've been learning a lot from Hasla. As I said, I made a cartoon out of her, and she is wonderful with giving scripts for me to use for these cartoons. I do none of the writing other than writing it down from the dowsing board. The entire script is hers, which I find so fascinating because they have so much to share and quite the point of view. So I want you to have an absolutely fun time dowsing with the fairies in your photos. And of course, don't forget about your guide, because they have a lot of wisdom to share with you as well. What you may find is that your spirit guide can offer you life information that you require because they were there when you made out the plan for this lifetime. So they can help you with that, whereas the fairies in the photos will probably be more about nature and the outside world and how they view things and what they do in their communities, their tribes. It won't be so much about you specifically, but don't ever count that out. It is possible. So that is all we have. You have completed this course, and I'm very excited for you because this has been a really awesome 4 years for me to be able to take the photos and communicate and do so much with the fairies from my photos, including the tarot cards and the wee folk toracles. And it's been an adventure. It kind of opened up a whole new doorway for me. Remember that you have lifetime access to this course, so you can come back to any one of the lessons if you need to or feel that you just want a refresher. I'd like to ask you a favor, if you don't mind. When you've completed this course, would you please send me an email and let me know what your experience was with this course? In other words, if there was anything you would have liked to have seen as a part of this course, or if it was a fantastic course, or whatever you would like to share about the course. This would be very much appreciated by me. There's always room for improvement with any course, so your input would be awesome. Now, go out there, take some awesome photos, and communicate away. It is really, really enlightening. Take care.